Delcy Rodríguez being sworn in as Venezuela's new president. Let's talk a bit about her, what her message is to the Trump administration as she assumes this new role, and just having heard Adelis describe her in the way that she did. Give us more context.
Yeah, well, it's not clear what her message will be, her fixed message, because up until Saturday, we were hearing one Delcy Rodríguez, and then suddenly on Sunday, we heard another person, a change of heart, a different narrative, than a different tone than the ones that we're used to hear from her. So let's go back to the beginning. Delcy Rodríguez has been, for the longest time, not only a supporter of Nicolás Maduro and first Hugo Chavez, but also a fierce critic of Donald Trump and U.S. policies against not only Venezuela, but the rest of the region of South America. So what exactly is her new narrative going to be, and how that is going to be translated? It's still yet to come. And we are hoping to get a glimpse of exactly that, at least today, after she gets sworn in in the National Assembly. That is what we are expecting. And, with her first official address to the nation.
How do people in Venezuela feel about President Trump saying the U.S. is going to run the country and take control of its vast oil reserves? What's some of the reaction you're hearing about that?
Well, that is very interesting, because inside Venezuela, I mean, this is a huge issue for people abroad, international analysts, and for the international arena. But inside Venezuela, people are still trying to understand what just happened on Saturday. So we are looking at some sort of shock wave that still hangs on the Venezuelan population. But still, I did speak with some people on Sunday, and those who address this issue that you're talking about, they have different views. One of the views is, we don't care. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here. We don't care who runs. I mean, if they want to run the country, then great. As long as Maduro and his team are not in Venezuela. And then the other side is, and I was talking to a woman specifically, and she said that she draws the line right there, that Venezuela is for Venezuelans, and are Venezuelans the ones who should decide the future of the country.
Ana, I was struck on Saturday when President Trump said that the opposition leader, who just won the Nobel Peace Prize, that he said people in Venezuela don't want her to be in power. What was your reaction when you heard that? What is it people in Venezuela actually feel when it comes to that?
Well, he said that she didn't have the support, and we really don't know what he meant, because we don't know if he was talking about, for example, military support, which could very well be the case. The opposition for the longest time has wanted to reach out and grab to that military support, because the military is the base of the Venezuelan government. It has been that way since Hugo Chavez started in '99. And but if he was talking about popular support, then really we don't understand why he's saying that, because up until recently she had the support of the people, and just last year, 2024. Edmundo González and Maria Corina Machado were able to get over 70% of the votes in the presidential election that was widely seen as fraudulent by the international community, even by Nicolás Maduro's supporters in the region, after she showed the world the vote tallies that would prove her victory. So we really don't know what he meant, but still, we haven't heard anyone from the opposition address that issue specifically, so we don't know what internally they're talking about on that.
All right. Ana Vanessa Herrero, thank you very much for joining us.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or watch live on our YouTube channel.